Sorry it's been a while, but the weather's been a bit too warm to be working in the van. I'm getting on with the Bobil heater. This is part 2 of the installation. I'm going to try and do this as best I can, but obviously I'm in the bottom of the cupboard, so it's a bit difficult. I'm not sure how well you can see what's going on in here. Leave this a bit better for you. There in the corner is the pump. I believe you can see that. It's there. There's the pipe feeding in from the tank. This is the pipe that's going to feed up to the heat exchanger. And this pipe here, which I've got to cut down, is coming back from the heat exchanger. The heat exchanger is going to go, and I will show you now, in there. At least it will do. Take my torch out. We'll go in there like so, turn sideways and be screwed securely in. That pipe will reach, can you see that? That pipe is going to go onto there, and this pipe will go onto there and be cut down. And the heat exchanger there is fitted to the wire piece, and on the wire piece is the flap for changing the heat direction. So it's quite compact, as you can see in there. The heat exchanger is just going to blow out into this cupboard, which is vented to the outside of the van, and also in this cupboard is the pickup for the diesel heater, which just picks up and collects from inside this cupboard. Always has done, that's how it's been fitted. So to fit the heat exchanger, I have just screwed it to a piece of wood, a piece of ply I had left over, and then I'll screw the ply into the floor in the cupboard there. Because accesses are tight, it's difficult to get onto these whilst it's in the cupboard. So I've screwed it to the bigger bit of ply while it's out of the cupboard, and then I'll screw the ply to the floor when it's back in the cupboard. So there you see, there's the pump, the wiring and the cable for moving the flap on the splitter are going to run out and be on the front of this cupboard here. What I'm going to do with this cupboard is, for that bottom section there where you can see I've got the sight glass, is I'm going to use this piece of perspex there. I don't know if you can see that piece of perspex. That piece of perspex was in that back cupboard where I've cut out for the bed. That was the perspex, so you can see through into the oxygen tank cupboard to see the level of the oxygen tank valves on top of the oxygen tanks. So I'm going to reuse that. I'm going to cut it down to size, and I'm going to use that to block that in, but obviously I'll be able to see through it to check the water levels. I'm trying to get hold of some more of this aluminium extrusion. I've tried on the ambulance forum, but nobody seems to have any, although a lot of people seem to be throwing away their cupboards out of the ambulance. They obviously do it when I'm not looking, because I never really get any. The other thing I've got to fit is I've got to run a pipe all the way along here, which is to fill this tank up. I've got the pipe on to empty it, I've got the pipe on for the overflow, I've got the heater pipes. I haven't put a pipe in yet to fill it up. I'm not going to fill it up through the lid. I'm going to have a pipe that runs along the back inside this cupboard, out into the back cupboard where the water pump will be, and the tank will be situated under the floor down there. Now you really can't see that, but where the tail lift was at the back, there's going to be a water tank under the floor, and then there'll be a pump that comes out of there, it'll pump up through the floor and along this cupboard, and it will fill this up. And I'm going to have a remote tap also under here, so that when it's in one position it will feed the sink, when it's in another position it will fill this tank up. All sounds very complicated, but as I said to you before, I'm working around the cabinets I've got, which means having to do these weird ass complicated head stuck in cupboard fitments and installations. So I'm going to get on now with getting the heat exchanger fitted in and the pipes cut to size, and I'll see you when it's all done. Ta-ta! Right then, here we are, it's all in, it's all finished. There's the wire piece with the lever. That's hot water, that's hot air. There's the heat exchanger. There's the temperature sensor plugged in. That's where the heat exchanger is going to exit. It's going to exit into the bottom of this cupboard. It doesn't exit very hot air, and what air does exit into this cupboard will simply come out of this vent on the outside. That vent you can see there is the pickup for the diesel heater. It's always picked up from inside that cupboard. There you can see, but I can't, the back of the controllers, which I'm going to tidy that wiring up. And I'm going to put a board up inside there so you can't see it. Obviously there'll be a floor in this cupboard. So probably, because it's going to get quite warm in there, being the home of the diesel heater and the water heater, I'm probably going to keep my underpants in there. Can't beat dry and warm underpants. Catch you later, peeps. Right, I'm just wiring up the two controllers. You've got the on controller and you've got the off controller, for want of a better term. I'm following the wiring diagram. I've got myself some green wire. It's old ambulance wire. I don't buy wire, it's all come out of the ambulance. I've got some black wire for the negative, I've got some red wire for the positive to go up to the fuse box up there. It'll run all through here, down into here. This is the pump wiring. The pump's not of the greatest quality. The wiring's very, very, very thin. I'm having to quadruple it up, like bend it over double and then bend it over double again, just so it'll fit in the smallest crimp I've got. I'm going to end up soldering it. It is so thin. I'm not going to bother going with a crimp because it's probably the cheapest part of the Bobil system, the pump. They've obviously bought it in as a unit. They could do better. The system's great, I love it, but if I have to pick one weak point to it, it's going to be this pump and the wiring to it. Other than that, it looks like a great system. I know it works because I've seen it work for other people. I'll be testing it out soon myself, fingers crossed. That's it anyway. I had to mention that because I'm doing the wiring and it's the one downside. So anyway, I'm going to carry on with this wiring. I need two hands, so I'll get back to you in a bit. Right, hello everybody, we've finally got this working. This top control box is controlled by this temperature sensor which sits in the heat exchanger there. When you warm it up, you'll see that top number going up. When that top number reaches 2 degrees above the bottom number, it switches on this bottom control unit which controls the pump. So I'm now warming it up by holding it in my fingers. As soon as that reaches 31.1, 2 degrees above where it's set, it turns the bottom one on. You can hear the pump going. Now to simulate the water getting hot, I'm going to hold the second temperature sensor over here. And as soon as that reaches the set temperature, which is 28, the pump switches off. And that's how she works. To cool the temperature sensors down, I simply hold them on the floor against a nice cold bit of aluminium. And they should start dropping quite rapidly, and as soon as that top one reaches the lower number, which is 29.1, it should switch off the bottom one. There you go. Now that's all just me messing about, holding it with my fingers because I haven't got any water in it yet. I haven't fitted a secondary water pump to fill it up with. I haven't fitted the pump and the tap to actually use it, or the shower yet. So that's as far as I'm going to get for this. I'm going to finish off the installation, put that in, finish off lining up the adjuster flap so that when I pull this, it gives me heated water there and heated air there. This whole lot you see is controlled by a switch over here next to the thermostat. It's shielded by the thermostat so it can't be accidentally switched on. I mean, to be honest, I'd see that glowing, but it's got a blue light because I figured water, blue, there you go. It's next to the thermostat because they do similar things. The thermostat controls the hot air controls the hot water, so I figured put it there and at least they're in the same place, and it's shielding. I'm not going to lean on it and accidentally catch it because it's recessed behind there. So switch that off, That's the whole system off. That is the control electronics wired in. I've literally just got to put this sensor down into the tank, drill another hole, put that sensor into the tank. I've got to install the heat exchanger and put the sensor in it. And then apart from the fill pipe to fill this up, because I'm not going to fill it up through the tank, I'm going to fill it up remotely with another pump, we're done. But because the rest of the water system isn't anywhere near done, you're going to have to wait for that, I'm afraid. This is as far as we're going to get on the Bobil systems. I've still got to decide how I'm going to illuminate the sight glass, whether I'm going to illuminate it when I turn the pump on to fill it up, or whether I'm going to illuminate it with a separate switch. I haven't decided yet. But that's it for now. I'm going to put this together now, and I will get back to you when it's fully finished and give you a little showing what it looks like inside this really tight cupboard. Apart from that, Bobil all done, dusted.